Well, good morning. I am Ozymandias, and we are in Beijing, currently traveling the world. But we have money, we have time, so we need to go. Go, 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 go. We are in Hong Kong, and we need to go... No, we are in Beijing, and we need to go plan. Where's the trains? Where's the trains? Where's the trains? I need to go Pyongyang. Wait, what is this? It's a rocket. How'd you get a rocket? I want a rocket. I guess I'll just hotel. There were no airships sailing across the Beijing sky, nor any evidence of electrification. Though the Chinese did not shun all technology, so maybe I'll get those mechanical horses again. Palanquins were drawn by intricately worked and gilded iron lions, as often as human servants, and I saw animated metal and jade dragons that snapped and glared at passers-by, terrifying them into relieving themselves into their own pants. Furthermore, I was lucky enough to catch the performance of the famed sushi opera, the cast consisting entirely of hydraulic elegances, automata by another name. I was told it was an ancient tradition, created only within the past 15 years, or rather begun over 1,000 years ago, by Hyung Gong, an engineer who had made sushi, wine pourers and musicians, dancing girls and acrobats for his emperor's court. True, perhaps so, if they had automata back thousands of years ago. But the opera itself, my friend, it was a glorious spectacle, a monument to technological advances. Though there were few props, the sushi were extravagantly costumed and capable of acrobatics that would impress the most athletic of flesh and blood actors. Which makes sense because they are made out of metal instead of humans who fill up with lactic acid and then gasp for breath and then die. We were the guests of not an opium trader, because people get caught and in trouble for that, but a Manchu court official who clearly believed us to be spies or troublemakers of some nature. But we avoided the opium trader for that very reason, despite my innocent expression, which was wearing rather false after so many international escapades, even though I have learned to tell the truth. As we departed the auditorium, I made a polite inquiry about the Dowager Empress Zishi, who was a figure of near legend in the West. She was born into poverty, rose by her own bootstraps, and rose through the ranks of concubines and consorts due to her wisdom and wit, he said admiringly, a model of Confucian virtue. We thanked our host and made our way back to our lodgings. A pair of opium addicts, of course, were slumped in an alley near our hotel, faces blankly blissful, despite the emaciation of their limbs. I saw the poison, and I turned my face away, but could not burn the damning sight from my mind. It infected all my memories of the splendor of Beijing. There's always those hidden things. Hong Kong Express. 2 suitcases, which as I have, it will be a bearable journey as I am traveling south into the warmth. We reboarded the Beijing Express for the next leg of the journey through China and to Hong Kong. I will fog. My man, your attentions are very calming. I am a very calming person. From Beijing to Hong Kong was another 1,000 miles, but the train line took a clever route that avoided most of the large towns entirely, running without stopping by the shortest route possible, which means I can make it in under 80 days, hopefully, maybe, possibly not, but probably not. I passed the time eavesdropping, hoping to gather information for our next leg, and I discovered from a cheerful Siamese woman that a notorious jewel thief plied the waters between Singapore and Batavia in a boat called the Spicy Jake. I will probably encounter that. Evening turned to night, and the train did not stop or slow. countryside fell away to be replaced by busy, bustling worker towns. Large industrial plants belched steam into the air, and mechanical contraptions stalked between warehouses. The railway line lifted, then dived. Doved. Underground, and finally we pulled to a halt in Hong Kong's main station. And there we are, Hong Kong. We will have to explore Hong Kong to find an onward journey, and explore I shall. Oh, new routes discovered. But not the point, no. Alas. I was looking over a bolt of navy Chinese silk when a man accosted me. This man had a mustache so fine, so luxuriant, so well tended, that I briefly lost the power of speech. I watched, mesmerized, as it quivered with his every word of introduction. It seemed his name was Fix, as he liked to fix mustaches. He offered me a drink, and given that I had a few hours to spare, I could not in good conscience refuse him. I bet he's a peddler. He led me into a dingy basement where sour-faced Chinese woman presided over several tables. It's a gambling place, with a few couches of men and women, mostly Europeans in various states of lowly intoxication. This is an opium den, I stated the obvious quite plainly. The gin is good, he told me, and ordered us a bottle to prove his claim. It was thin and sharp, but not wholly distasteful. We chatted amiably for a time, and I found my cup filled and refilled most miraculously. Listen, he said abruptly, I am a police detective, sent from the London office. You a detective? I could not hide my incredulity, but he presented me with his commission, which seemed in all respects genuine and correct. You have been duped, he resumed. Mr. Fogg's wager is a pretext. Last September, a robbery of £55,000 was committed at the Bank of England by a person whose description answers exactly to that of Mr. Phileas Fogg. Of course, detective work in this day was not known for its accuracy or precision. What 55,000 pounds did you say? I slurred, feeling the effects. Oh, sorry. 55,000 pounds did you say? I slurred, feeling the effects of the bottle of gin. That surely cannot be. You know scarcely anything of your master, Fix ground on. You went into his service the day he departed on this so-called wager, carrying little but a large quantity of banknotes. Of course, this guy's trying to get me drunk, so in order to tell me, he is an honest man. I've never seen him not be honest. And honestly, if someone does something out of character, or is purported to have done something out of character, what are the odds that they actually did it and that it's just a story? Honestly, my money's on the fact that this guy is just trying to pin it on Phileas Fogg for an easy peg. He is an honest man, I asserted mechanically, though in the face of Fix's absolute certainty. Also, who names a cop Fix? I found myself assailed with prickles of doubt. The detective hissed a breath which fluttered on the tips of his oiled moustache. I could arrest you as his accomplice. But I have not done nothing wrong, and so there's nothing you can do. Then you must help me, he replied. Fix pressed a pipe into my hand, and I unthinkingly, that's not a word! Lifted it to my mouth. As my head began to as I inhaled, before my brain caught up with my hand, the sweet smoke percolated through my lungs and my head felt heavy. Opium. I breathed in accusation. The last thing I remember is the blurred and wavering outline of Fix's self-satisfied face as I fell upon the table. But new routes discovered, thanks to me getting high. I am not condoning getting high to find new routes. I don't think that's actually how the days usually work. And I will depart. Because apparently this is the only way I can go. Jade Tiger to Yokohama. I need to be aware of the spicy tiger. I awoke in a small dark cabin with the familiar hum of an airship motor beneath me. Thank you. I am in an airship. That was kind of my goal for the game. As for my head, it was attached to my body, surprisingly enough, and that was the best that could be said of the situation. I had clearly overindulged. I began to castigate myself in the strictest of terms. Lordy, he abducted me? Okay, I gotta get back to fog. A fragmented series of images sprang into my mind with vivid force. In Opium den, Fix's accusation against my master. In Opium pipe pressed into my gin-soaked hands, and then only blankness. I resolved to find an answer to the most important question. Where was my master? Because, quite honestly, who cares what airship I'm on? I need to find my master. Just as soon as I could bring myself to uprightness, that was. Ambulation was the task best approached in stages, and I am ashamed to say that I fell at the first hurdle and collapsed into my hard cot, trembling and insensate. But I am traveling in the air. I drew the scratchy blanket about my shoulders and ventured out of my cabin at dawn, having gathered my opium-stewed wits during the night. It wears off, I guess. Still, I'd rather not be in that state in the first place. I spotted a wind-burned member of the crew. The tool belt at her waist hung with rope, bolt cutters, and all manly of strangely shaped tools. "Excuse me," said the dinosaur. I croaked, rather more weakly than intended. She looked me over and chuckled. "Oh, you are a mysterious late arrival. How's your head?" "Abominable. Let's just be honest. Snowman levels of abominable." She laughed rather kindly, all told. "At least you're honest. See, I've learned honesty from the man who purportedly stole." "Is there an Englishman on board?" I demanded. She told me there were plenty, of course, and I endeavored to describe Monsieur Fogg so as to distinguish him from the others. An implacable, eerily calm sort. Yeah, let's go with that. "No," she shook her head, "but an Englishman carried you aboard and paid for your berth. He said you were ill, though you were clearly half crazed with opium." "Not my fault." "Kind of." She shrugged and added he had a magnificent mustache. Fix, that blackguard, had paid for my ticket from Hong Kong to Yokohama to separate me from my master. Well, dandy, I was hoping that was fog, and he just sent me on my way to sober up. On my way to Yokohama. Oh, I have zero money because Fog has all my money. Well, dandy fukabuku. Today I apprehended the cold truth of my situation. I would arrive in Yokohama the following morning without a penny to my name, or even a change of clothes, and with no notion of my master's whereabouts. He was bound to come after me, because he was honorable, and he still sort of likes me. I was his gentleman's gentleman, and he was my gentleman, and I was his gentleman's gentleman, and gentlemen's were gentlemen, and gentlemen's need a gentleman. Was that not the most inviolable bond of all, skipping, of course, matrimony, parenthood, and pet ownership? Still, I made full use of that salopard's Fix's ticket and attacked the buffet with the gusto of a man who was not sure whether his next meal would come from. For indeed, I did not. And plus, I love a buffet. Wait, Copenhagen bomb threats continue. Okay, might want to be a little. The Jade Tiger arrives in Yokohama. We tethered at Yokohama in the early afternoon. I greeted the waterfront apprehensively, my eye passing lightly over the slope-roofed buildings, carriages, and bare cherry trees. I straightened my cuffs, for one must look proper when one is penniless, and brushed from the front of my shirt any lint that had dared to accumulate. I had been in far worse circumstances than these. And with that, we have arrived in Yokohama. I am by myself because opium is an evil drug that destroyed Asia. Unfortunately, on this cliffhanger, I will have to leave this episode here. So, I wish you all good night and good luck. Maybe a little extra luck to me in the next episode too.